comedy comes in different phases. You could be a stand-up comic. You could be a clown. You could be an impersonator. You could be just a storyteller like Mickey Freeman, tell stories, jokes. I never told a joke because every time I would tell it, I knew the punchline, and I never thought the punchline to me was funny telling it. So I go on tirades. Sometimes people say, well, you know why you're funny? Because it's the way you yell and scream. And there were years I believed that. I said, that's why I'm funny, because I yell and scream. And someone said to me, but you say things. And I say, oh, that's my mistake. I say things sometimes at the wrong time. I don't know if you saw me a couple of years ago on television, on Tom Snyder's show. I went after about 10, 12 entertainers that I didn't like. You should have heard the next day, my wife, God love her, she says, you ruined your career mentioning people that you didn't like. I says, no, I raised my price $1,000. And that was a fact. Because if I blew my stack with some of the performers, the agent says, get me that guy. Now, they knew I was an Italian comedian in the sense that I worked at Cooper and I did Jackie Gleason and all that, and Ed Sullivan. But they never saw anybody say those kind of things on national television. I won't even mention the names. I went after them. And I'm sure I put my foot in my mouth. But it's good. That's what makes interesting people. If you put your foot in your mouth, if we all stand there and be perfect and don't want to say nothing, you get involved. Not everybody in the world's going to like you. And when you learn that, you'll be successful. If you're worried about your ego, say, well, gee, I hope they're not mad at me, then forget about it. You shouldn't even be in television, you shouldn't be on radio, you shouldn't be in nothing. But it's, my wife, God love her, she really got shook. Because she said, I know how hard you work to get where you are. What made you do that? I said, because I can't take people who mistreat me. And when people mistreat me and you don't mistreat them, I don't give a damn. I got to tell them. I've told the story 100 times. I'm going to tell it one more time. When I was working with Frank Sinatra at the Sands, and Julie Rizzo, who's his closest friend, told me that Frank says, take that piece of material out of your act about the Saints. I knocked on the door and I said, Frank, did you tell Julie that I should take this story about my Saints out? He didn't answer me because he was shocked that I would ask him. And I said, Frank, do I tell you what songs to sing? I never worked with Sinatra after that. Never. But I became his friend. He would never have me on the same show because he could not control you. Because he knows you're liable to say something. And I like Frank Sinatra, but I mean, if he's going to tell me, tell a butcher to take his knives. Tell a plumber to take away the pipes. Why are you telling me to take away something that I was getting a laugh on? They're waiting for Frank Sinatra. They're not waiting for me. I was a stage wait. I was allowed 18 minutes. And out of the 18 minutes, I think I got maybe 4 laughs. And he wanted me to take the 4 laughs out. Years later, I found out that he was trying to see if I would do it. And I became his friend. Every time I saw him, he was very nice to me. But they don't understand because sometimes they get so big that they absolutely believe they can walk on water. And they can't. They're human beings. They die like everybody else. And I don't mean that in a cruel manner. Sinatra's dead. Dean Martin's dead. Sammy Davis dead. They were wonderful. They were great when they were alive. I'm going to be dead, and that's another story. So who cares? But while you're alive to have some kind of a dignity, just because you're a closing act and I'm an opening schmuck, and you tell me to take something out, it's wrong. I've headlined a lot of shows in this country. I never told an opening act, you're the opening act, do 7 minutes and get out of here, and you do 9 minutes. Never. You're a professional. You know what they want. They want an hour and a half show, do 45, I'll do 45, we're happy. That's all. But when you get to the, I mean, the Dean Martins and the Sinatra, I mean, how hard can you get? Then I worked with Perry Como. And I said, Perry, I'll do 30 minutes, is that okay? He said, do what you want to. Do what you want to. But I'm smart enough to know. I did 25 minutes, and that was wonderful. I worked with Rosemary Clooney. I said, Rosie, I'll do about 25. She says, Pat, don't be stupid. Do it. Make them laugh. But I knew 25 minutes, went home. I've worked with entertainers who shall be nameless. They're opening. They were on an hour. See, and how I screwed them? I did 20 minutes and went home. Ella Fitzgerald did it. Ella Fitzgerald did it at the Flamingo. She was the closing star, and the opening comic did an hour in front of her, and Ella sang for 20 minutes. And the boss says, what's wrong, Ella, you sick? She goes, no, you said you wanted an hour and 20-minute show. He did an hour, I did 20 minutes. She said, how's that grab you? And they told the comic, you're out of order. The next show, he did another hour. To Ella Fitzgerald. I worked with Ella Fitzgerald. Worked with Peggy Lee. Then I got a shock. I did a benefit. I worked with the Mill Brother. The other two were dead. I didn't know it. Guy said, ladies and gentlemen, here they are, the Mill Brother. I said, the Mill Brother? And one guy walks up, I'm going to buy your paper. And his uncle's in the back going, boom, 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 boom. Then I worked with the Ink Spot. So I worked with all of them. I worked arenas. Look where I'm working tonight. On 61st and Park. It's over. I ask you people in this audience, you never saw me here tonight. It could hurt my career. It's just a pleasure to work. It's a pleasure to just talk. And to be funny. Not to be a wise ass. Whenever I stood up to anybody, it wasn't to be a wise ass. It was because I felt I was being offended. So I'm extra sensitive. I got a friend of mine now, you all know his father. Great, great newspaper man. Marvin Scott. He's been on, God, how many years? One of the top guys and a nice man. This is his son. He's my guest, Steve Scott. Say hello to Steve Scott, ladies and gentlemen. Steve Scott, this good-looking son of a gun.
Hi, everybody. The part of Joey Reynolds will be played by me tonight.
Did Joey really go?
He really had to go.
He did?
No, I think he ate the food and he had to go to the
Well,
bathroom
God
or
bless
something.
you.
It was
Here,
just a
sit down and
cover.
make
How
him
you
look
doing?
important.
You didn't even tell him what I do for a living. You're talking about my dad. They don't even know I'm a comedian. He's like, his dad's a newspaper. You know, my dad's on television.
They don't know you. Of course they know you.
No, but you didn't say I was a comedian.
I don't want to give
go
it away.
and be wiser. So like, we couldn't get a newspaper man, so we got his son.
No, I said, in case you don't get a lift, I protected you.
Thank you. See, I love Pat. He
He
always
does the
looks
prices,
out
he
for
does
me.
everything. I have to
He's the
explain to
best.
people.
I know.
Listen, where you gonna? This is like working a yard.
I know. You know, I did this show tonight for two reasons. One, because
Don't
I
get
love
too
Pat.
relaxed, so you'll wind up at the show.
I know. Normally I do stand-up, but tonight I did sit down. But Pat's been one of the nicest guys. You know, I've known him, 13 years, 14 years. He's always been good to me. When I first started out, he's like, you got it, kid. You keep going. He's terrific. And the other reason I did the show, of course, is because I found out tonight that apparently by doing the show, I will have completed my 140 hours of community service. So it kills two birds with one stone. I've been good. I'm in town. I just hurt my hand. Look at this. I broke my hand the other day. I fell in the ice, and then you got to go, oh, you got to feel bad for me. You say, oh, I say, yeah.
What, you got carpal tunnel?
No, I don't. I actually fractured a bone in my hand.
It's a comic. How do you break your hand?
I slipped on the